It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition.
Welcome back to the Evan edition, where we talk movies, TV, comics, pop culture, and everything in between. I am your host, Evan Bernstein, and with me today is the man with the plan, and if you like his takes, he may hold your hand. That is Zach with Zach Attack Reviews. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Another great intro. I appreciate it. I feel so welcomed.
You are always welcome, my friend. That was off the top of the dome, so I was happy about that one. I didn't have a lot of time to. Before we get into everything, though, because we got a big show, just to let you guys know, we are going to get into the nitty gritty of this Netflix purchase of Warner Brothers, and we're going to break it down. We're really going to break it down, answer what we know and what is true, and also answer things that maybe we won't even know until a few years. And then, is there any positives? Can we talk about some positives? Maybe. So we're going to get into that. We got the Avengers lineups. We got 5 lineups that were announced in Italy at an event. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into Quentin Tarantino being a big douchebag, which can't wait to get into that as well. On top of some other fun stuff. So can't wait to do it. Glad you guys are here with us. Before we get into that, though, I was at Fan Expo last week, so I did not have a regular show. I was at Fan Expo. It was awesome. It was really cool. It was my first convention. So, I didn't really know what to expect. Also, Fan Expo is not one of the, Fan Expo San Francisco is not one of the bigger ones, I would say. It's not a Comic-Con, and I didn't know what to expect. It's on the weekend of Thanksgiving, which was interesting. So I'm like, how many people are going to go? But I'm like, regardless, me and my boy are going to go. We're going to have a good time. We're going to get some content. And I think we checked off every single box that we wanted to, because It was a heck of a time. We got to talk to artists, creators, really, really awesome people. So just off the top of the dome, I want to thank Impound Comics, who I finally got to do one of those impromptu top 10, videos that I've always watched and loved. So
you killed it.
Thank you, brother. I can't believe I got to do that. Saw him. I was like, oh my God, like, I love your stuff. He was like, you want to do it? I'm like, oh, okay. And then we just started like right away. So I was like, oh, okay. But that was awesome. They were so nice, and it was really great. The person I interviewed, the comic book owner, I introduced her and him together, and now in the end of January they are doing a signing at her comic book shop. Nice. So love bringing people together, love these interactions, and hopefully, just maybe, we can get them on the show. That would be that would be awesome. You got to be there for that one. I'm going to try and line that one up nice and good for us. On top of that, I got to give a shout out to Chris Patrick on his Instagram. He is the Daredevil that I was interviewing. Fantastic takes, great costume. We are definitely going to get him on the show as well. Victor Dandridge, who is the hardest working man in comics. That is his title, smartly named. And he had some great takes. And who else we got? We got Anthony, who is the Peacemaker cosplayer that I got to interview. Only Fanthony _official is his handle. And then Megan Fitzmartin, I got to talk to her. I didn't interview her yet because we're planning to do an interview, but she is a, TV, animation, comics writer, does podcasts, part of the WGA, part of the WGGB, BAFTA, all the GGGs and all the stuff. But she is fantastic. She has this great voice when it comes to LGBTQ plus stories within the pop culture stuff that we love. So I cannot wait to get her on the show. And then who else? Who else I got to plug? We got to plug Angel. Angel was fantastic. I talked to him for a while. Angel Studios, he does these insane artworks with not chark but like charcoal and stuff like that, like really digs in like deep and just insanely beautiful. He gave me, I got one back there, you can't see it, but he gave me an Andor sticker that was a print. Yeah, so shout out Angel Studio. So we met like, and then Angelica does unboxings. It's her family's company, and they got a pretty good following, and they do live unboxings of mystery boxes and stuff like that. And she was really nice too. So just met all these great people. I gotta plug them, but hopefully we can get them on the show. But man, what a great time. And on top of that, the number one thing, I got Mr. Feeney autograph. That's right. Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World.
Oh wow.
4 years old. Like he is, I can't believe he's doing like it announced, you know, he was just gonna do like Saturday or something. It's like, and Mr. Feeney's gonna be there all 3 days. I'm like, dang, dude, and his wife, who is also a fantastic actress, it was on the show as well. I got to meet, I didn't do any, I wasn't planning on doing any signature stuff. It's not my thing. But
Yeah.
this dude is very influential, especially when I was working with kids. You know, my wife would say, like, when I would tell her stories, she'd be like, "You're like Mr. Feeney with tattoos," you know? Yeah,
That's
but
a huge compliment.
it was a huge compliment. And I told him that, and they got a good chuckle out of that. I asked him and his wife have been married for so long. I was like, what's the secret to a good marriage or a long marriage? She was like, there is no secret. Just listen to your wife or something like that. I was like, nice. So it was highly recommended. Shout out Fan Expo. They do such a great job. Asked a question for the panel with Dwight and Angela from The Office.
Nice.
Accidentally kissed. I got a good laughing because when I first talked, I got so close, like I was like, oh, accidentally kissed the mic, and got a good laugh in the audience. But it was a great time, man. I highly recommend it. So we're gonna try and go to more conventions and stuff like that because the content is great, the interactions are great, and it's just like such a happy, fun time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you had a fantastic time, man. That sounds great, especially for your first convention.
Yeah, I know. I wish you were closer because I would love to go to one of these bad boys with you. That'd be so fun.
That would have been super fun.
My ankles are hurting after though. It was a lot of walking, a lot of Christopher walking.
No seats.
Yeah. But before we get into this new stuff, because we got a lot into, I just wanted to talk to you just briefly about it. Welcome to Derry, because this bad boy, I am now finally caught up, heard all the chatter, all the good things. And I would say this show is a reminds me of Lovecraft Country mixed with, and this is a deep cut HBO show, Carnival. Do you know what that show is?
No, I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
It is basically, you know, during the heyday, the heyday of HBO. This was their first venture into genre, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's very like you know, carnival. It's like circus oriented with a little bit of the hell, you know, angel versus the devil kind of thing. Very, very underrated HBO series, like extremely underrated. But if you watch it, you'll be like, dang, there's some like, this feels like the 2025 like high enhanced version of it. But all I can say is this show is fantastic. It's no wonder why it's under the HBO umbrella, because it feels like an HBO show, like the storytelling, the production, the actors in it, like it is so good. And then on top of that, like the way that this show characterizes Black people and humanizes Black people as in the 1950s.
Yeah.
It's and it comes from Andy Muschietti, who is, you know, a Latino himself and a minority himself. He really like gave voice to and like meaning to like not every Black person is the same. You know what I mean? Like this person in the army is not the same as this Black person in the army. And this Black woman who is fighting for this Black man that might be in prison's rights is a very smart and badass, not just housewife Black woman. You know what I mean? And like, it's just like fully actualized Black characters. And there's moments on screen where it's like no white people. And you're like, this is awesome. You know, like it's just, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like,
especially in a show like this where it's
please
it's
take it away.
Supernatural.
Don't let me white splain anymore.
No, you're right though. It's where supernatural is sci-fi. A lot of times we are servants and background characters or part of a bigger crew. But for these characters to have their own storylines, their own agency for the most part, and not be monolithic. Like they all have different haircuts, they all have different motives, they all have different jobs. And like you said, we have two army people, but they're very different, completely different people. You know, and it's rare. And then they're not even trying to like, we're best friends because we're the only two Black people here. They're not even doing that. So I really like how he writes a lot of the characters. They don't feel like they're in the background. They feel like they're right in the forefront, but they're now also not diminishing the non-Black characters as well. They all share the screen and share the story all together equally. So it's really well written in that way.
Thank you. Yes, that's exactly it. And like when Chris Chalk, you know, Dick Halloran, and I don't want to mess up his name, but is it Jovan Adepo? Leroy Hanlon? Is it Jovan?
I haven't seen his real name.
I don't know. I might be butchering the pronunciation, but when those two soldiers who are extremely different people are on screen together, it is like magic. Like I'm like True Detective season 5, like let's go. You know, like they are just crushing it together, and they are so different with very similar hearts. You know what I mean? Like they'll fight for the people they love, but they're both tortured in different ways. It's so beautiful to see on screen, and it's so compelling, and it's like, and then you're putting it together like, oh, okay, so that's this, and it chapter 1 years from now, you know, like 25 years from this time, that's who this person's gonna become. And so you're just like putting it all together, but it's just so good, dude. And I really love this show. I don't know if they're going to get a second season because it's not billed as a limited series, but
they are. They already have 2 more seasons coming.
Two more.
They're going to go 27 years back and then 27 years back again.
So it's not going to be with the same people.
No. Well,
darn.
It can't.
I know. Yeah. They're going to get murked. All of them get murked.
Almost everybody's getting murked. Almost.
Not all, but
not all.
They're going to be either murked or severely scarred from this point. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad that not that they're getting scarred. I'm glad that we get more because I like living in this world. It's such a great world that doesn't solely rely on Pennywise to carry the story forward.
Yeah.
But it relies on these children who are extremely good actors. Yeah, the one that plays Ronnie Grogan, the daughter of the theater owner, Amanda Christine, is just absolutely crushing it. Marge is so good. Lily is insanely good. Like, and then our boy, Rich Santo, our Latin boy, is just crushing it. Like,
please, Andy, I'm pleading to you. I know you don't watch this. Andy Muschietti, leave Rich alone.
You never know. No,
Please
yeah.
don't
Save
do my
Rich.
boy like this.
Save Rich.
Save
Uh,
Rich.
so I can't speak highly enough about this show. I know you got through it too, so I just wanted to touch on it, but I'm highly impressed, and every show is so entertaining and so well done, and the acting is just top notch that like I really hope Hollywood does not be racist for once in their lives, because these people need to be casted in more stuff after.
Start picking them off. They deserve the same amount of push the Stranger Things kids got.
100%.
Because I think that they have the potential to be even greater. I think there was such a big gap between Stranger Things seasons, and we've seen the actors not really blossom the way a lot of people thought they were going to blossom.
Yeah, some for sure. I mean, I
Some for
think
sure.
yes, I think some, but no, sorry to cut you off. I think some, you know, the one that plays Mike, he's in like Ghostbusters, and
Yeah, he's
you know,
the
he was
like
in
the most
It. He's in
successful
It.
theatrically.
He was in It Chapter 1.
Yeah, he was in Chapter 1. He just directed his first movie this year, Hell of a Summer.
And Joe Keery is
Joe.
like,
Oh yeah, he has
I
a
know
band.
he's the older one, but man, he is just so good. Like in
Sadie Single's an
Fargo.
Oscar-nominated movie.
Yeah, there's definitely
Yeah.
some, but I think you're right. I think they're getting more opportunity, and not getting more because we don't have anything to compare yet, but it seems like they're getting a lot of opportunity. And I agree with you that I hope the Welcome to Derry kids get the same opportunities, because they can act like really, really well.
Yeah.
Cast Rich. All right, brother. Well, with that down, I wanted to get into this. So we are almost at an Avengers Doomsday trailer. That's right. It is coming quickly on the heels of Avatar, The Way of Not the Water, but Fire and Ash, coming out pretty soon. And with that, we are getting more details coming around the world, including an event that happened in Italia. That's right. In Italy, we have now been confirmed our 6 teams. We got 6 teams. One of the teams is just one of one, Doom. But we got some more details about what the lineups will actually look like when it comes to the teams of Avengers Doomsday. And of course, you know, Dr. Doom's team, I think we're going to get kept under wraps a little bit. But if you want, why don't we go team by team and then we can talk about it? So right now, when they showed I didn't even save the picture because I'm like, it's Doom. We don't need to like, it's just Downey, you know, like, but they showed a picture of Downey, team 1, the Russos as directors next to it. I'm like, oh, he's got the Russos on this team. But it seems like they're keeping under wraps who is Doom's team, who is his minions, who's going to, the multiversal people that are going to fill out that roster. So why don't we start by kind of speculating, or what we've heard, who do you think will be, if any, on Dr. Doom's team? Me?
It's interesting. I feel like there are characters that we've seen during the multiverse saga that he possibly can pluck from different places. I would like there to be a surprise of Kang, maybe. That would be really cool. I know that's not going to happen, but that'll be, or even if they recast the character, it's not Jonathan Majors, and he just plucks Kang, because Kang's story ends with him being held by the TVA, so they didn't kill him off. It feels like that's for a reason. I can also maybe see the evil Doctor Strange from Multiverse of Madness that Doctor Strange went up against, because I don't think I don't think he's going to take our Doctor Strange. I think maybe an aged up Franklin could be one of the people as well.
Interesting.
Because at the end of Fantastic Four, you see him talking to him. In my head, I assume he's taking the baby. And I can see him aging him up so that he can be like a maybe 10-year-old teenager, old enough that he can talk. Maybe not an adult, but old enough that he could talk.
That would be
and
ideal.
how that would affect the Fantastic Four. You know, they miss years of the kid growing up. You know, that can add some emotional weight.
Yeah. What about Wanda? Do you think Wanda could be a part, like a dark Wanda?
I
Yeah.
think that is almost a for sure thing. I know Elizabeth Olsen said she's not in any of the movies, but I think she's lying. And Doom and Wanda have a long history in the comics. So and they always love to have some connections from the comics that's accurate.
Yeah.
So I think that's for sure. I feel like that will be his trump. Like I could just imagine like they have him on the ropes and then Wanda comes out of nowhere and just pushes everyone back, and it's kind of like maybe she says no more mutants.
That's what we've been waiting for.
And then that's how she wipes out the Fox X-Men.
X-Men. At least the X, yeah. And then herself. No, I'm just
she might be WandaVision.
Yeah.
But
what about Hela from Thor Love and Thor Ragnarok?
That's an interesting one. I think they feel like they've been trying to bring her back for a while and don't know where to fit her in.
Would that be a way you would like to see her fit back
in? Yeah, either Hela or even God Butcher. Get Christian Bale back and use him properly.
Please get him back. He was the best.
Yeah, but I feel like Hela is more of a chance because he has a personal connection with Thor. That's his sister, basically. And a lot of people liked her in Ragnarok, so I could definitely see that. And she's super OP. I feel like he's gonna build such an overpowering team.
Yeah. What about Captain Hydra, Captain America as a Hydra variant?
We see it's hard because we're already doing the variant of Tony, so for them to do a variant of Steve Rogers as well, it might be too many. But also, hell yes. I don't care. Or even go a step further. We could since this is a variant, just do Steve Rogers as Red Skull.
That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy. Insane.
Do you think we could get Ultron as one of his
because of Vision Quest? I think that's a high possibility.
Okay.
Because they're reintroducing that character into the universe now.
I love Ultron.
I love Ultron so much. I think not Kevin Spacey, it's James Spader did a wonderful job voicing him, and he's going to be playing himself in the Vision Quest. So I can see him being more involved in it.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good one too. All right, let's move on to our next team. We got our fantastic new team, the Fantastic Four. That is right, my friends. We are back in the Fantastic Four game with Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, and Eben Moss-Bacharach as Ben Grimm. So I think this makes perfect sense. These are our new if you will, our new, Cap and Iron Man of the past iteration. So this team is going to be featured heavily in the Doomsday movie, and for better, I think, because if anything, I think people overall really enjoyed the chemistry between these actors and Fantastic Four. Say what you will about the movie. I've heard the chatter of people being negative about it and saying it's boring and this and that. But I really think it's hard to knock that these four and Fantastic Four had fantastic chemistry. And on top of that, they have the strongest connection to Doctor Doom. So we're going to be seeing a lot of this family in the new Avengers movie.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think the fact that every time they ask Pedro Pascal about Robert Downey Jr., he's like, "Oh, I just text him." So it seems like they're building that chemistry already. Yeah, he's my best friend. They're building that chemistry already. They purposely show that Doom's Latveria exists within their universe, but he wasn't there for the press conference within the Fantastic Four movie. So like they have a relationship. I think they're building that chemistry between these two great actors, and I think that's a rivalry that can carry the MCU. It won't be the only rivalry to carry the MCU, but I think it's a rivalry that can carry the MCU because I think Robert Downey Jr. could do this for another 5 or 10 years, especially if he's under a mask.
Yeah. So but not like beyond Secret Wars, right? He's not going to go beyond. You really?
Do you think they're gonna use him for these two and then just not have Doom? Or recast them? I feel like that's be too much for. I don't know. It might not be too much for the audience, but I think the audience will find it weird.
Yeah, it's interesting because, have we gotten more Thanos since Doomsday? You know what I mean? And this is, Robert Downey's Doctor Doom is the Thanos of these two huge event movies. So I guess the question is after it's all said and done, and we've seen Doom at the height of his power, and then at the lowest when he gets beaten eventually, or beaten in the sense that there's a huge reset or something like that, will we see Doom again is a huge question that I think a lot of us are going to want answered as we get closer to the end of Secret Wars.
Yeah, I think that's I think Thanos is a character that doesn't need to be around as much. I think he doesn't have a direct rival. He's just too single-minded in what he wants to do. He doesn't really break his morality like Doom does. I feel like Doom goes through like kind of like a hero to anti-hero to villain a lot. I think they can use him in many different ways, unlike Thanos, who I feel like since he's not a humanoid, it would be weird if he just was hanging around.
Yeah, that's a good point. But who's to say that we don't see him at least in one of these two Avengers movies?
We talked about Doom's team. We didn't mention a Thanos being on the team.
No, we didn't.
Didn't,
and that appears to be untrue. And he rips his spine out. Maybe that is what will happen, right? You know, it could be a
situation. He's on the team. Thanos' head gets too big, and Doom has to all right, I have to put you down. It could be be some infighting.
I like
that would be the way to beat that, right? Too many egos. Because if you have Hela, right, she thinks she's the greatest. Doom thinks he's the greatest. A Thanos or Ultron thinks the greatest. The way usually these OP teams go down is that they're all egomaniacs, so they start fighting each other.
That's a good point. Yeah, there could be some infighting between those like heavy hitters. You know what I mean? That's a good point. Is this too distracting? This light?
No.
Okay, cool. It's party up in here. Party. All right. With that team down, the next one that was introduced is that's right, the Wakandans they're referring to, which is interesting. Okay. So the Wakandans in the Avengers Doomsday are led by, of course, Shuri as the new Black Panther, M'Baku as the King of Wakanda, and interestingly, the presentation depicted Namor as part of the Wakandans, despite being a Talokan. It's possible this could be a mistake, and the Talokans, which includes Namora and Atuma, could still form their own team to defend Earth against Dr. Doom, or they could be teaming up based on, the alliance that was made at the end of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I want to ask you, what do you think about Wakandans being his own team and Black Panther not being a part of an Avengers team?
I think with Shuri being Black Panther, it makes sense. She doesn't have a direct relationship with any of the Avengers. And she is struggling with her identity.
Yeah, she was, at the Infinity War, she met a lot of people trying to take the stone out of dude's head, didn't work, but
didn't work. Because we don't know what's happening in between Wakanda Forever and now. Is so much time has passed. I can see her going like, I found myself, I need to stick with Wakanda and protect Wakanda, and not every time we do something with the Avengers or an Avengers thing, something bad happens to Wakanda. So we're going to reinforce and make ourselves a power, because that happens in the comics a lot too, where Wakanda becomes this great force that the rest of the not just Earth fears, but the universe, because they start going to space and stuff. So I can see M'Baku with the way he is leading Wakanda in that direction. Black Panther is his right hand man, kind of,
Yeah.
but she's really the leader. And I can see them not giving Namor's people their own team because that just might be too much. It's just like, let's just scoop them in with the Wakandans,
Yeah, they already
even
have a
though
connection.
they already have a connection and we already have this deal. So we'll just have everybody together. So I could see them kind of doing something like that where they make the Wakandans and Wakanda this own force, this own powerful force.
Definitely. Definitely. No, I think you're right. I think you're right. And, you know, just talking about these different characters from these different franchises, it just gets you so excited because that is what these Avengers movies are all about. You may have had issues with, you know, Wakanda Forever, which was the hardest movie to make in the past 50 years, you know, like, and you may have issues with other movies, but you can't deny that there's so many enjoyable characters, and seeing them interact with other characters that you love is what this is all about. And so even us talking about these lineups and, you know, these different teams, it doesn't mean that they're not going to meet and mesh with these other teams. And that's what's exciting, is that we get to speculate now what teams are going to meet what. And this is just getting me really excited. And now we finally get to answer the question that we've been waiting for a very long time. Who is the Avengers? Not the new Avengers, but we got our Avengers lineup, and it's quite interesting. So this is the most intriguing aspect of the Disney presentation, and it's Doomsday's main Avengers team. The lineup includes Sam Wilson as Captain America, Joaquin Torres as Falcon, Thor, Ant-Man, Shang-Chi, and interestingly, we're going to get some brotherly love with Loki. So this means that we will indeed get the Thor and Loki reunion that we always wanted, and it's happening sooner than later, most likely in Doomsday. So we'll see them fight alongside each other against Doctor Doom, and we are in for some teary-eyed moments between these two finally meeting back up after everything that they've been through. And I, for one, cannot wait.
They have a lot to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how that works out. Is it a situation where Doom is in Sam Wilson's team's space and they chase him and he goes after Loki, because Loki's holding the whole multiverse together. So they have to explain how he gets out of that to now join this Avengers team, which is such a great full circle thing, right? Like, he's the reason why the Avengers came together, and now he's joining the team as
he's
good
the reason that they're going to save the world. You know,
he
was the reason for the world being destroyed first, and now he's going to be the reason for bringing them together to save the world. That is
great storytelling,
circle moment,
and
arguably the most depth of any character development that we've seen throughout the MCU is Loki's journey, and this in Doomsday will be the cherry on top of the cake for his character, I think.
Yeah, and what I find weird is Scott Lang, because I'm like, something weird happened at the end of Quantumania, right?
Yeah, you think he's in the soul? No, you think? Didn't you say that when he was acting all weird, when he's like, oh yeah, like we did. He's like, but what if we didn't trap him? And what if? Nah, I'll think about it later. And then like goes along like, I think you brought this up before, that you thought that he potentially could be in a different universe.
Yeah.
That something is kind of off, right?
Yeah, even the way they filmed it, it felt slightly off from the color and everything just felt different from, because they showed a similar scene early in the movie and it just feels different from what that scene felt like. So that's going to be interesting.
That is going to be interesting, and it's exciting because there's so many questions that are unanswered, especially when it comes to this main Avengers team of old school characters that we've seen almost throughout the entire multiversal, I mean, sorry, not just the MCU saga all
Yeah.
together. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play in to the story, and if they're still going to be like the main parts, or if now they're going to take more backseat to prominent characters like the Fantastic Four, and transitioning now to, it's a little far away, but the next team is our new Avengers team, the Thunderbolts. That's right. 2025's Thunderbolts introduce a ragtag group of villains turned heroes, which later turned out to be MCU's new Avengers. While there is an established conflict between them and Sam Wilson's team over the use of the term Avengers, they have no choice but to work together and defend not just Earth, but the entire multiverse against Doctor Doom. And this team, of course, includes a bunch of super soldiers. We got Bucky Barnes, Red Guardian, and U.S. Agent. And then meanwhile, we got Yelena Belova as our former Red Room agent, the new Black Widow, if you will. And Ghost, a former S.H.I.E.L.D. asset who has powers of running through things. And we got our wild card Bob, aka Sentry, perhaps the most powerful character that we're going to see in Doomsday
On the good side,
Dr. Doom himself.
Yeah, he's probably the most powerful character on the good people side, and he can't really use his powers. That's the part that's really funny.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll see. I feel like amongst these two movies, he's gonna figure out how to balance the Void and the Sentry personalities into one. That's like a major part of his story in the comics. Him becoming a Superman-like character within the Marvel universe.
Yes.
Like but he's a little bit more philosophical and like deep.
What's his name from Watchmen? The blue.
Yes, he's a little bit more like him than what we got in Thunderbolts. It's going to be interesting to see if we transfer over to that.
I shouldn't interfere, but but I love humans, and I need, it's like he's going to be more. Maybe he will become. That's his journey to get to Secret Wars. You know what I mean? Is finding that peace within himself, and that would be a great B story within the movie.
Definitely. That Avengers team. This new Avengers team makes sense. It's going to be interesting seeing them interact with the Sam's Avengers team, because it seems like they already have that beef. And also we already know they're going to interact with a Fantastic Four. We don't know if it's the one that we saw or old version, a new version. We're not too sure yet, but we know that they're going to interact with that already. I do find it weird that Captain Marvel is not on an Avengers team.
That's weird to me too.
It is weird. It's that she's not here. I'm not sure if she's showing up within these 6 teams, because I haven't seen this list at a time. Only heard about it.
She's not. We got one more left. Yeah.
And then we also don't have a Doctor Strange. So
we don't have Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel. We have none of the younger next one up, Young Avengers at all mentioned. So there's a lot of people that are left out. Hulk is not mentioned at all either, which is a big one, especially being in the Spider-Man movie and having that really strong connection with Thor and the Avengers team.
Wolverine, Deadpool.
Wolverine, Deadpool. I mean, last time we saw Hulk, sans She-Hulk, before that, he was on a council with Captain Marvel talking virtually to Shang-Chi about, we didn't even get a talk about Shang-Chi, really. We got, talking about Shang-Chi, basically saying, welcome to the circus. And now he's not even on the team. So it's like, I thought you were part of the circus. I thought you were the welcoming committee. Where's Wong? Wong is the
Maybe we might get a bunch of little mini teams. Maybe we'll get a Hulk team where She-Hulk, Bruce, his son, and Matt's little thing. And then maybe Captain Marvel will be with Miss Marvel, and she's looking for oh my God, I'm forgetting her name. Monica Rambeau. And Then eventually all these smaller teams will get enveloped into the bigger Avengers team, and then that one.
We just got to keep in mind this is going to be Doom's story. And so I really think it's going to focus so much on Doom that a lot of these characters are not going to get the screen time that we want them to, at least until Secret Wars. So
or not at all.
Or or maybe not at all, which would not make sense to me. I think it would make sense to have Doctor Doom be a part 1, part 2, and then do a Secret Wars. That would be sick.
That would be sick.
No, I don't think it's happening.
Especially since they didn't set him up like they set up Thanos. Like we saw Thanos a little bit before Infinity War happened. And he was talked about in Guardians franchise. And we saw him in Guardians on the So like this is gonna be the second time we see Doom. And the first time was for 2 seconds. Yeah. And no speech, no nothing. It was just him looking at a baby. So it's going to be interesting. I do think they should have did a Doomsday part 1, part 2. Show his origins, show his motives in the second one, why he's wrecking stuff, and then go into Secret Wars.
Yeah, I think so. I think that'd be great. Have it open with Cap at the end of Endgame going back with Peggy, and then for some reason that causes an incursion and kills Doom's family, and now he's on a rampage to get justice for these incursions happening and messing with the timeline, and only he is in his mind the person that can set this timeline right where he wins finally. That would be sick. We'll see though. I mean, as we now know, they are re-releasing Endgame in September of next year, which is fantastic because my wife never got to see it in the theater. So I cannot wait. And now, of course, here comes the rumors that apparently they're adding a new end credit scene that is going to tie directly into Doomsday. That is the rumor. I don't know if it's true, but it could be very interesting if it is. And it could tell us a lot more than these other end credit scenes have been telling us thus far. And that makes me pretty excited.
Yeah, no, that would be really dope. I don't want to get my hopes up because that sounds like something they would leak just so we can go watch Endgame again and then nothing be there. But that would be exciting. Or even if it's a teaser trailer in the beginning of the movie, would be really, really dope.
I put the wrong. Oh no, I did. I put up too quickly. This is the X-Men. I guess I didn't put the.
You didn't put the Thunderbolts?
I didn't put the Thunderbolts one. Whoopsies. Bad on you, Evan. Bad production. And then our final team is the X-Men. The inclusion of the X-Men in the Avengers Doomsday ramped up the anticipation for the movie, considering that the original actors from Fox's mutant-based movies are confirmed to return in the crossover event. The lineup includes Patrick Stewart's Charles Xavier, Ian McKellen's Magneto, James Marsden's Cyclops, Rebecca Romaine's Mystique, Alan Cummings' Nightcrawler, Kelsey Grammer's Beast, and of course, our boy, he made a name for himself, Channing Tatum's Gambit. And that is our thus confirmed so far X-Men lineup. What do you think about this lineup? I want to ask you, one, are you happy with this lineup? And two, if this was just the X-Men that we see, is that enough? Or in the words of Kendrick, is it not enough? Two solid X-Men left. No.
I do think that this is enough. Only because the movie is so crowded, right? This is Doom's story. I feel like a lot of it is going to be from his POV. We have a lot of backstory to explain. They're going to have to handhold the general audience a lot, and which is more their fault than the audience fault. And we have a bunch of new teams, right? Like the Fantastic Four is not brand new, but it's brand new to a lot of people. And we have a new Avengers team, which we didn't even get to see assemble. A lot of people didn't go see Thunderbolts. So they're going to have to kind of find a way to introduce them in a cool way that people like them. And then there's a bunch of characters that are scattered away. So the fact that these X-Men who are probably not making it past Secret Wars are in it at all. It's just kind of like a cherry on top situation. And we talked about who his team might be. It might be them. It could be a situation where their universe is getting destroyed and Doom is giving them out. And he's using the X-Men. They have no emotional ties to 616. They have no emotional ties to any of the characters that we love. So it could be a situation where it's the X-Men versus the Avengers.
That's true. No, that is true. And I think some people have theorized that this could easily be an X-Men versus Avengers scenario. I don't know if I like that so much because I think there is a lot of X-Men event versus Avengers storylines that we could cover when we get into the X-Men saga itself, which I would love to see. So I kind of would like to wait for that. I don't want to just pigeonhole them in because we're like saying goodbye to the Fox X-Men, which we already kind of did in the Deadpool 3 movie. But to see them fight would 100% be sick. And that's something I definitely want to see a little bit of. But I think the point is there is so much in this movie and it needs to establish Dr. Doom as him. You know what I mean? Like he is him in this movie, that it needs to stay on him. It needs to stay, the focus needs to stay on Dr. Doom. So that is our lineups, you guys. Let us know what you guys think. Are you surprised by any of these lineups? Are you surprised that Loki's and the Avengers? Are you surprised that Captain Marvel and Hulk are nowhere to be seen? Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, man, that took a while. I knew it. I knew this was going to take a little minute. We got to get into this because we got a Superman sequel, Man of Tomorrow, ramping up quickly because that boy is already filming in April, not that far from now. And it was confirmed that Brainiac is the villain of Superman 2, Man of Tomorrow. And we're getting some news about who the front runner actor could be to play the titular villain of the movie. Is it still titular if he's not in the title? Maybe, maybe not. But this comes to us from comicbookmovie.com, my favorite. They say, with the trades confirming that James Gunn is looking to cast Brainiac for Superman sequel, Man of Tomorrow, all eyes are on who the filmmaker chooses to bring the iconic villain to life in the DCU. Dracula star Klaus Bang was the first name we heard, with now more on Sam Rockwell from Iron Man 2 and recently White Lotus, which was a crazy performance. But it seems like our boy Matt Smith from House of the Dragon and Doctor Who is said to be the front runner to play Brainiac. If there's one thing we've grown used to since DC Studios was launched, it's James Gunn and Peter Safran not necessarily casting A-list actors. It's a good cost-saving measure, and Superman became the year's highest-grossing movie, even without any bankable big names among the ensemble. With that in mind, Bong, Rockwell, and Smith all make sense for the DCU's Brainiac. And this earlier week, Scooper Daniel Rickman is reportedly saying Smith is amongst these three the front runner to play Man of Tomorrow's big bad. Beyond playing Doctor Who and House of the Dragon, he was also in the hit movie Morbius and also in Last Night in Soho. And he has since been cast as the villain in Sean Levy's upcoming Star Wars Starfighter. Smith does somewhat feel like a safe choice for Brainiac, but it's also one that many fans would have no complaints about. It's easy to picture him going head-to-head with David Cornsweet and Nicholas Hoult. Man of Tomorrow could also mark a reunion with House of Dragon co-star Millie Alcock, who plays Supergirl. So there's already a lot of connections. I want to ask you, one, what do you think of our boy Matt Smith being in top, being the front runner per se of being able to play Brainiac. And then on top of that, what would you think if these other two actors were indeed the actor to get the role?
I think that Matt Smith makes tons of sense. Not only does he look like the part, like you can see if you
Yeah,
put the prosthetics, put a ball cap on him, he would
that
look like
forehead,
a
man.
Brainiac. He has the jawline and everything, right? And he doesn't have the features on his face that's going to make it weird. He has he can do stoic. I can see them making this Brainiac a little bit more charismatic than normal just because it's a James Gunn movie and he doesn't do stoic characters ever. So I can definitely see this one being a little bit more theatrical, and Matt Smith can do that way while being menacing. So I think Matt Smith is a great choice. It is the safe choice, right? It's the no-brainer, do it. But also that's kind of how James Gunn cast, right? Like Supergirl castings, like this is the fan cast. This is the no-brainer. This is who people said should be Supergirl.
Yeah. Same
And
with
things
David
like that. And
Cornsweet.
people, huh?
Same with David Cornsweet for the most
Yeah.
part. I mean, when we got down to that, final three, it was kind of obvious. Like this is the guy that fits the most.
That
Even
looks
before that final three, I've been saying David Cornsweet since I saw Hollywood that he sounds like Superman. So sometimes the most obvious casting is the right casting.
It's the right casting. Sam Rockwell is a great actor, and
Oscar winner.
he's an Oscar winner. But I feel like his face is so recognizable. He's a bigger actor to me than Matt Smith in terms of just name.
100%.
That it might be a little distracting, not just to see Sam Rockwell and to instead of seeing Brainiac. And then the third guy, I'm not too familiar with him, so I can't speak about his
Klaus.
performance abilities.
Yeah, Klaus Bang. I'm butchering that name probably, but Klaus Bang is a fantastic actor. He is brooding and scary and demonic and Dracula. Like he's was a great Dracula in that show from the same creators of Sherlock, and he is he would be a very good choice if it was him. I lean more Matt Smith because I feel like it fits James Gunn a little bit more. And I lean Matt Smith too because he's been on a run, but he hasn't really gotten that extra oomph. And I feel like playing the lead villain in a Superman movie sequel that is coming off of a very well received first movie is just going to heighten him to the next level. So he's an actor that is there, but cheap enough where you can get him still on the low and right before he blows up. And so I think that is also something, is like casting him in that sweet spot of his career. And that's why I think Matt Smith is also a great choice for James Gunn and this universe currently.
I think that also makes sense. He are going for actors that make sense in a role, but also affordable, because he has to worry about the budget in terms of that. I find it interesting because I don't know if Lex has catapulted Nicholas Hoult, who is in a similar space as Matt Smith in terms of he has a great filmography.
It just came out in July. You know what I mean? But you're right. We haven't seen an announcement in the next Nolan movie. You're right. We haven't seen Nicholas Hoult get these announcements of these big directors that want to work with him now, like the next Scorsese, you know what I mean? Like the next Spielberg movie. But at the same time, he's already been quietly working with great filmmakers in his career. It just hasn't been the main role. You know what I mean? And so I think you're right, but I don't know if it's a big enough sample size of time to justify if playing Lex has put him on another playing field yet. Does that make sense?
And also, he is going straight into Man of Tomorrow, right? So he doesn't have time to do another role. because it seems like he's gonna have a bigger role in Man of Tomorrow than he did in Superman. Since it sounds like it's gonna be like a co-lead situation, so that might be a situation where it's like, yeah, he did Superman, and they're like, well, we're gonna fast track Superman 2, so we need you right now.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I mean, he's working like with David Leitch on a movie from John Wick. He is going to
Mhm.
be in the Mosquito, a TV series from the Tony McNamara, who wrote like Poor Things, The Great, The Favorite, The Roses. Great actor, you know what I mean? So that's a hot TV project right there. And Daisy Edgar Jones is also starring. So they're you know what I'm saying? Like they're not. And then he got cast in Tom Ford's next movie, which it's been like 9 years since his last movie.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And that's with like Aaron Taylor Johnson, Mark Strong, Tandy Newton, Colin Firth, Owen Cooper, like, and then Man of Tomorrow. So he is in like high profile projects. So, but he's been that for a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's like a little bit different for him. I think the bigger test is, what are we going to see David Corenswet in outside of Superman? Is this going to heighten him like it did with Man of Steel with Henry Cavill? That is the bigger question, because after Henry Cavill came out of Superman, it catapulted him in the stratosphere and became an A-list actor. And I just saw Corenswet doing Actors on Actors with Jonathan Bailey, potential Batman. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Like he's doing the Actors on Actors. He's getting more of this high profile stuff, but where's the roles? I haven't seen him casted in the roles, namely because they're shooting Superman 2 so quickly. But what's next? And so that, I think, is another test subject of, is this going to make the actor A-list, or is it just Superman and that's the big name? You know what I mean?
Superman's the name, and
Right.
Cornsweat's not on everybody's mind because he did a great job. He did a fantastic job as
Fantastic.
Superman. This
Iconic.
version of Superman, I think he did a really, really good job. Like good enough job that he should get recognized and stuff. But it is interesting because you talk about Nicholas Hoult, he has his jobs lined up after Superman.
Yeah, you heard those.
But
ones.
David
Those are
Cornsweat
good.
doesn't really have it.
Yeah.
And I forgot Rachel Brosnahan. I also haven't really heard much about her either. So it's really interesting.
She's got some stuff too. She's got some stuff. She's also producing too. She's very smart in her career. I think when you get that recognition from a hit TV show and you pile up the Emmys, kind of gives you some wiggle room to kind of be picky and choosy. And I think that's where she is in her picky choosy era. You know, do something big like Superman, then produce and star in a TV series like the one Jake Gyllenhaal was in on Apple. You know, she gonna be on that, right?
Zoom Innocent.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? Like she gets to kind of pick and choose now because she's built out that for herself in her career. But these are our three on the short list. And the front runner is Matt Smith from House of Dragon fame, which is coming out this coming summer with season 3. So let us know what you guys think. Do you think Matt Smith is the right choice to play Brainiac in the Superman sequel? Or do you think these other two actors might be a better fit? Nice. Yeah, frit it up. It might be a better fit. Drop your comment below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. Might be too much champagne. I'm celebrating early. I'm celebrating and also mourning because I want to talk about our next topic. And
oh boy,
dang, this has been a longer show than anticipated, and it's about to get longer because the Empire struck back and took our oldest and most Hollywood iconic studio of all time, Warner Brothers Studios. That's right. Netflix has won the bidding war. It has given out a whopping $82 billion and snatched up one of the most iconic Hollywood studios of all time. And Hollywood has changed forever. We're going to get into it, though, because there's a lot to get into. This Hollywood lot is going to have a huge N on it and be like, dum dum, when you walk in now, unfortunately. But what does this mean? What is it all about? There's so much going on about this purchase, about the money, about what the changes mean, about what Ted Sarantos is saying. So I want to break this down. I'm going to talk a little bit about these 5 points, and we're going to discuss it point by point. And then after that, we're going to talk about, is there any positives from this? Everyone's been so dire and negative, which they have every right to be, but is there any positives from this? So let's jump right into it. New York Times has given us quite a bit of answers and broken it down really well. So I'm going to go down this, one, yes, Netflix is the winner of the bidding war. The next thing is, who else was a part of the bidding war for Warner Brothers? The entertainment conglomerates, Paramount and Comcast, were also bidders in the sale. Notably, Netflix, which built its business on at-home entertainment, pledged to continue theatrical releases for movies from Warner Brothers. For this one, out of Paramount and Comcast, do you think that Netflix was the right choice?
So we had a conversation about this when it was like first rumored, the 3 people, right? And we talked about how we don't want Paramount owning Warner Brothers because of political reasons. And also kind of they have too much crossover in terms of what they have on their content versus what Warner Brothers has, where it feels like it was going to wipe out a lot of stuff that we love in terms of owning Nickelodeon, owning Cartoon Network and such. And then also it kind of erasing the history of Warner Brothers. Comcast is another situation where they are also maybe leaning into that political situation, but they're more of an unknown. A lot of people were talking more about Netflix and Paramount, and Comcast just kind of seemed like an outlier.
Right. So
Netflix was the one that I was really kind of rooting for, if it had to be bought at all. And while it still seems like it's the best situation short term, long term, I'm a little worried because of the CEO of Netflix and some of the comments that he's come out with since like the bid has been put in, because it's not official, right? We'll talk about that as well.
We'll talk about that as well. What this
they have a long road before they actually own it.
Rights to purchase right now, so they're hammering out the details. But it seems like that nail is halfway into the coffin. So
the nail's halfway in the coffin. Yes. And I've heard a lot of different takes on this stuff, like a lot of doom and gloom. But I've seen a lot of people that are in the industry kind of like talk about fighting against this, right? The DGA, the SGA, and I think the WGA are all going to have conversations with the people higher up talking about blocking this, because Netflix is the number one streamer.
Fox and Disney too.
Yeah, but this is even worse because Netflix is the number one streamer, right?
No, it is worse. You're right, but that was a big one as well.
HBO is third, so you're doing the first is buying the third. I don't think that should be able to happen, right? It's not like it's a monopoly. It's not like Netflix is buying Tubi. You know what I mean? Like, like, all right, Tubi don't have any market share really. But they would own 43% of the market share if they owned Warner Brothers. And they're going to have these iconic franchises, plus what they already have. And they're going to be able to almost control what is made. Warner Brothers makes a big chunk of movies. Look at this year. Final Destination Bloodlines, Weapons, Sinners. They did half of F1. Minecraft, one battle after another. They have their hands in so much of movie culture,
Harry Potter,
year in and year out.
Yeah, Penguin was huge. Batman was huge. Superman was big this year. We just talked about Superman. That's theirs now.
It's so them owning all that will cause a lot of issues.
Yeah. What else they got? They got so much stuff, bro.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, they got Harry Potter. Okay. Next is, what's in it for Netflix? That's the question. When you're already number one, as you said, what's in it for Netflix? Well, Netflix has never tried an acquisition of this size, but as competition for people's attention intensifies, the deal's expected to help quote unquote, attract and retain more subscribers, per Spencer Newman, Netflix's chief financial officer, who said on a conference call this last Friday. In a fast-paced media landscape where consumers have endless choices on how to spend their time, Ted Sarandos, Netflix's co-chief executive, said the company can't stand still. He said, we need to keep innovating and investing in stories that matter most to audiences. And that's what this deal is all about. Mr. Sarandos said on the call on Friday, the combination of Netflix and Warner Brothers creates a better Netflix for the long run. So they are basically cushioning up their IP and solidifying themselves as the number one studio in the world. And I think that's enough said. That's what will happen because they bought the number 3, like you said. So that is pretty much what's in it for them. And the next thing is, does this mean Warner Brothers movies won't appear in theaters? Netflix says no for now. On Friday, the streaming giant said it planned to maintain Warner Brothers' current operations and build on its strengths, including theatrical releases for films. Maintaining that operation would mean showing some 15 movies a year in theaters. But there are doubts from the TV and film industry. A group of film producers sent a letter to Congress on Thursday stating that they had grave concerns about Netflix buying Warner Brothers Discovery. The authors of the letter did not sign their names for fear of retaliation. Netflix views any time spent watching a movie in a theater as time not spent on their platform, the letter said. They have no incentive to support theatrical exhibition, and they have every incentive to kill it. So right now, Ted Sarandos is saying they intend to have Warner Brothers movies in the theaters, but that the theatrical window might be shorter and that this was already happening before they ever bought the purchase, he said. So what do you think about them trying to sway the audience by reassuring them that Warner Brothers will be in theaters for the foreseeable future?
I'm going to make a reference to Pokemon. Pokemon use smoke screen, not effective.
I thought gotta catch them all.
This is not effective. It's a smoke screen that I think people who are in the industry, people like me and you, and just people in general audience is going to be like, we know that's bullshit, right? Like, we know that you can't do anything till 2027, right? And even after 2027, you can't make a bunch of changes because a lot of contracts WB has,
even WWE,
yeah, that is a big thing. They do have Raw on Netflix.
They own AEW or Warner Brothers.
AEW is on Warner Brothers, yeah. So that's a big conflict of interest for them. Are they going to get rid of one of them now because they have that 10-year deal?
Jumble in your words turned into something else that is because now Netflix owns so much stuff, you can stumble on your words and it'll stumble into more money for Netflix.
Yeah, they own the competition, and they're Pepsi and Cola. We know that once all those contracts clear, which will probably be like 2030, they're going to shorten the releases. They're already doing it with their films. They're releasing it to the public for 2 weeks and then putting it on Netflix. Happening to Wake Up Dead Man, Train Dreams, and all these great films that they have that should get Frankenstein. Frankenstein is something that should have been in the movie theater still right now, right? And unfortunately, it's not. It's something that you shouldn't be watching at home. But I will say, to play a little bit of devil's advocate,
yes,
I do think that Netflix wants to get into the theatrical business without it being the Netflix brand. And I think that is kind of why they want Warner Brothers, because they've been teasing it a little bit, right? Like, they've been putting movies in theaters, and they did the K-pop Demon Hunters 3 times, and they're doing this and that and this and that. And it feels like they bought a theater, right, where you can go watch their movies and other movies, in California and in New York. they're kind of doing it, and I think because there are subscribers that are pushing back because they're like, wait, I subscribe to Netflix to get the stuff right away, not for you to put it in theaters. I can see it like, well, it's not us, it's Warner Brothers. And
no, that's true. It's another smoke screen.
A smoke screen where they'll be
Right?
able to put a movie out for 15 to 20 days and it's going to have the Warner Brothers logo, so no one's going to have an issue with it. So I can see them doing that as well.
No, I agree. I agree. And, you know, it's crazy because there is those contracts in place. And so the people that are freaking out, we're not going to see any changes for at least 3 years ish. You know, I mean, even the president of IMAX came out and said, we have contracts with Warner Brothers for movies through 2029. So that's not changing. He said, like, so yes, right now they can say, oh, we don't see any changes with our Warner Brothers movies going into theaters in the foreseeable future because you can't take them out with the contracts that you have in place. So that's why you're saying that right now, but you're not saying anything about down the road what this could possibly look like for a reason, because you don't want us to freak out and boycott those movies that you're going to own in 2027, 2028, 2029 that are still going to be coming out in theaters. You want us to still go to those so you can make money off of them until you start changing the release model and screw us over. So I think it's also funny. Like, I had this thing from September when this was like being talked about Netflix, and people started liking it a lot on my TikTok. This like clip I had. Let's see if it pops up. I was like, oh, interesting. I'm getting a ton of likes on like something that like I put out like years ago, or not years ago, months ago, but it was like very dire. If Netflix buys Warner Brothers, this will be the death of theater going. Netflix has a model that solely relies on streaming. They have had movies in the theaters because their hands were forced by the creators and the artists that made those projects, but they do not want their movies in the theaters. They want their movies to their streaming network. We will start seeing DC products on there, Harry Potter, more Harry Potter shows, even though Warner Brothers is already doing that. They will dilute these products till there is nothing left. Was that too dire, or was that pretty accurate?
I think it's the future that we're looking into. And to add on to it, and this is, I saw Dakota Johnson kind of talking about this during a festival run in terms of like Hollywood has always been in danger even from the beginning. But you got to think about the history of entertainment. The radio got killed by the TV show. The TV show got killed by the movie, and the movie is getting killed by the streamer. And eventually something's going to kill the streamer. There's going to be always a change. I think what the problem was, the difference between the radio getting killed by the TV was so long, right? It took us so long for it to happen that these changes are happening faster for us, and it's hard to handle it. This is inevitable, like AI, streaming, shorter theatrical runs. This is the future that's going to happen, unfortunately. Because streaming is just an endless gorge of entertainment, right? You have so many choices that you can watch, and so many shows are movie level in production quality, right? Like a basic movie, not like you know, top of the line movies. And you watch them week to week, no extra costs, and if you don't like it, you just move on. You don't have to dig in 2 hours or hour and 20 minutes into it and sit there in the theater and watch it. So I understand where Sorrento says shorting the theatrical experience is more consumer friendly, because there are a lot of people who are like, when is this movie coming to streaming? They don't want to go to the theater to watch it. So as much as for me, who loves going to the movies, I go every single week. It's my safe space. I love that communal experience. I just watched Hamnet in the theater last night. And I had such an amazing time. Everyone was feeling the same emotions together. You can't replicate that at home. But most people do not care. They just want to sit home, be comfortable. It's the art dies because people want convenience, and that's what's happening, right? The convenience of being able to be home. So if the majority of people enjoy the convenience, Netflix and the rest of these companies won't be stopped.
You know, there's these memories that we have where, you know, we walk into the theater and it's big and it's, you know, clean, and
Mm.
you got these posters on the wall that you had no idea this was coming out, or this
Yeah.
movie with this actor, and you're walking through it to your theater as a kid down the hall to the left, where you're going to enter in a dark room with a bunch of strangers and some family member or friend that you're with, and you're sitting there, and on the big screen there's some movie trivia, and it's quizzing you, and it smells like buttery popcorn, and people are rifling through their candy wrappers trying to get to their Reese's Pieces to put in their popcorn, and now you're eating your pizza, you know, and it's halfway cooked, and but it's still good because you're in the theater. That is going bye-bye. All those memories, all that nostalgia, it's going to go bye-bye, because what is not being said by Ted Sarandos is when you shorten these windows that the movies are going to be in the theaters in, the prices are going to go up for the time that the movie is in theaters. So now the theaters are going to be suffering, and they need to make more money. So the already super expensive concessions are going to go up. The tickets that are already super expensive compared to when we were younger are going to go up. Everything is going to go up, and it's going to price out people from even wanting to go, because it's already doing it now, and it's going to make it extremely worse.
It's going to make it I've been talking about this with my friends for a long time. The movie theater experience is going to turn into a boutique, similar to physical media, right? Like, I'm a big physical media lover. Hey, great movie.
Great.
Physical media has gotten so
Favorite.
expensive, right? Like, I can't just go to the store and buy a bunch of them anymore. Similar to comics, right? I used to buy a bunch of stack of comics every week because it was $1, $2. Now they're $5, $6 each. Can't afford it. Can't buy every physical media product out there because it's 40, 50, 60, sometimes $75 a pop. Movie theater experience is gonna go there. We're gonna either get theaters that are premium screen only, right? Where it's IMAX, RPX, Dolby, those 40X. That you already can tell that they've been trying to push all that, right? They're probably gonna get rid of 3D, or 3D will have one showing a day. And we're gonna have that. And then we're also going to have those small cultural milestone theaters where they show like Fellini and
Art House,
French New Wave, Art House, and the Independent Spirit Awards contenders and stuff like that. There's going to be no in between where we have like a general theater that shows everything, because less and less people are going to go, because the movies are going to
be the Marvel. And it's going to be either the real, it's going to be only the real big IP stuff.
But even that is going down. Like Marvel's year.
There'll be events. There'll be small 2-week, 3-week events. Go see, you know what I mean? And then it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, it's on Disney Plus. It's going to happen. The only way that this would be avoided, and this is really funny, the only way to stop this is for the Academy to put their foot down. And why I say that is because the Academy has this 2-week rule, 15-day rule. Netflix is allowed to just put any movie for 15 days because they want to qualify for the Oscars. If the Academy says you have to have your movie in the theater for a month, 30 days, 40 days, Netflix won't do this because they want those Oscars. They want those award wins. They have a bunch of award movies right now getting pushed for that. Train Dreams, Jay Kelly, which I watched today, Frankenstein, Cedric.
Just briefly, how was Jay Kelly?
Jay Kelly was good. It was really good. I don't think it's a Best Picture nominated type of movie, but I enjoyed my time.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. And on top of that, you know, what I wanted to get into as well is what is Warner Brothers known for? Through this deal, Netflix would gain control of a lot of intellectual property, like
Yeah.
Looney Tunes, and
Yeah.
enormous film franchises such as Harry Potter, Superman, Batman, the Monster Universe, which has done pretty well, on top of Hollywood Studios' classic acclaimed collection like Casablanca, Bonnie and Clyde, Dirty Harry, The Shining, Chariots of Fire, Wizard of Oz. Even though it holds MGM's classics like The Wizard of Oz and Gone with the Wind, even though it's an Amazon MGM thing, but different rights, they still have those.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of IP, which is the main reason why they bought this. But that is iconic franchises that we grew up loving. And when I say we, I mean we as a collective human society before you and I were even born. And so we've all grown up with something that belonged to Warner Brothers that we loved. And now Netflix owns it. So we're going to see Joyce Byers from Stranger Things riding on the back of the Iron Giant.
Very possible. Very possible.
And so what does this mean for HBO Max? Because as you mentioned earlier, this is another really big streamer in the game of streaming right now. Yeah. And so Warner Brothers Discovery owns HBO. And if the deal goes through, Netflix's roster of shows will expand greatly. Those hits include television shows such as Friends, Game of Thrones, as well as streaming hits like Euphoria and The White Lotus or The Gilded Age. Netflix's co-chief executive Greg Peterson in a conference call that it was quite early and he did not share exact details on how the HBO Max streaming service would be presented to consumers in the long term. In the near term, though, the plan is for HBO and HBO Max to operate as a standalone brand. So I want to ask you, how do you think they will handle after the near future, because they're being so effing coy? How do you think they will handle HBO Max as a streamer? Do you think it will live separately, or do you think that will just combine with Netflix?
I think the smart idea, unlike the way Disney is absorbing Hulu, which I think is a great mistake, and I hate it. Yeah, starting January, Hulu app will be gone.
No, I know that, but why do you hate it?
I think that
Hulu's not that big, and it's a lot of FX stuff. You know what I mean?
Not that big, but they were building momentum before the purchase, and they were started getting their shows streaming on Nielsen. You know, it was a fairly new service. They still are.
The past Emmys, FX had like the third nominated or something like that. I might be mistaken, but I know it was high. So I hope, sorry to cut you off, but you just popped in my head. I hope we see some replication after Netflix owns Warner Brothers, where it continues to live as HBO. So it's like, oh, HBO and Netflix are tied for the most Emmys, but Netflix owns them both.
Owns them both, exactly. But now Hulu is being absorbed into Disney Plus, and I feel like a lot of people complain seeing the mature content of Hulu on Disney Plus, which people wanted to be wholesome, right? I know there's parental controls and stuff like that. It's just weird seeing the bear next to Miss Marvel, right? And I think similarly,
I like it. I love mixing like that stuff, because I thought Disney, when it first started, no rated R stuff, playing it super safe, super like old school Disney PG, like that isn't Disney today. Disney today, you have a Deadpool, then you have Spider-Man and his amazing friends, or whatever that animated show.
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
No, not that one. The kiddier one where they have like bigger heads.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
It's like the number. No, it's like it's his amazing friends, but something like that. It's his friends, and it's like the number
Oh,
one
Superhero Squad. That one.
Yeah, it's like huge. So it's like that's how you become a hit streamer is you have stuff for the adults, stuff for the kids. I like that personally. I think that's how you have a more well-rounded streamer instead of being like, this is just Jungle Cruise. It's like, no, what? I don't want to watch. No, I want the bear and
that makes sense, right? That makes sense to me. But I think branding is a big part of it, and I think the brand of Disney is family stuff. And I think I've seen their growth slow down, right? You would think Disney Plus would be the second biggest streamer by now, but it's not. It's like in 4th or 5th place. And I think them combining with Hulu, adding the mature content has skewed what we thought. Like Apple has its own brand and HBO Max has its own brand, and you expect epic Golden Globe. Is it Golden Globes? Yeah, Golden Globe, Emmy types of shows on H. That's what you go to HBO for, right? You go there for the big, high produced, well acted, epic sagas, or even if it's not super epic, like dramatic, really great films. Netflix, you go for like variety of stuff, but it's mostly like kind of guilty pleasure things. Like there's different brandings for each one, and then when you start mixing them together, it maybe long term it might end up helping Disney Plus, but for right now, it doesn't seem like it is. I think mixing HBO Max into Netflix will make the high tier shows get lost in the shuffle. Like a show like Hacks,
it's too much.
It's just too much. A show like Hacks, which wins, like it's nominated every single year, will get lost in the shuffle on Netflix.
I love that show. I think you need two. It's too much. You need 2 separate streamers.
Streamers.
And the name HBO is too big to get rid of. Yeah. Like there would be no Netflix without HBO. Like they made you bring up that quality because they're your competition. They made you better, whether you want to admit it or not. HBO made all your network's shows better because of how prestige the storytelling was. That is a fact. And so you need that name. You cannot get rid of that.
It can't just be a tab on Netflix. That would be insane.
Heck no. It's an injustice. All right. So what other brands are affected? In addition to HBO Max, the deal would give Netflix control of Warner Brothers Studios. Other cable television brands owned by Warner Brothers Discovery are not immediately affected by the deal. CNN would be spun off into a separate publicly traded company by next year, alongside other mainstay cable networks like TNT, Discovery, HGTV, Food Network. Gunnar Weidenfels, the chief financial officer of Warner Bros. Discovery, would lead the new company to be called Discovery Global. So these will all be spun off into something else, which also means that this deal is going to take a little bit longer to go into effect because they need to sell off those things and separate them from Warner Brothers before the deal can go through. That's why this bad boy is not going to be really complete until probably a year. So those bad boys are going to go. This is an interesting one, okay? That's what you were alluding to a little bit. Will antitrust regulators react? The fate of the deal is in the hands of federal regulators and will depend on how the Trump administration defines the market these companies control. Experts say the deal is also expected to face scrutiny from antitrust regulators in Europe. If it fails to get approved, Netflix will be required to pay Warner Bros. Discovery a $5.8 billion breakup fee, according to documents filed with federal regulators. The Netflix deal also contains a provision that prevents Warner Bros. Discovery from seeking higher bidders from Comcast and Paramount. But if Warner Bros. Discovery decides to cut ties with Netflix and go with another bid, it will pay the streaming giant $2.8 billion, according to the documents. So there's a little bit of that. It was just reported actually yesterday that Ted Sarandos met with Trump to talk to him about the purchase before this bad boy was exclusive rights to Netflix to purchase. Yeah. So it seems like he's trying to line up that well, so there is no issues down the line, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that they're out of the woods yet. And there could still be some issues in the antitrust realm that we might see them run into in the near future.
I also want to this point I saw on Instagram. I forgot what publication I saw it. They were like talking about different points about this, and one of the good points they made was that this deal may not go through, and they felt like it was a big possibility that it's not going to go through because of the antitrustness of it. The fact that Netflix will own 43% of the market by owning HBO, and all the people who are going to lose their jobs, and the lack of jobs that people are going to have because they're one studio. So they feel like if Netflix knows that, why are they doing this? And they said that with HBO being one of the direct competitors, with them in the process of buying them for basically 2 years, HBO can't make any new deals, right? So whatever deals HBO has right now is what they have. And they can't make any deals until 2028. So if this falls through, they will hamper one of their biggest competitors without spending money.
Wow.
So that's a possibility.
Smart business move too.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's not the first
on
time
Netflix's part. You know what I mean? Like now we just hindered one of our competitors if we don't, for a short time, we got a little jump start on there and get more subscribers. I want to ask you something though that our audience is extremely curious about, and that is what happens to the studio heads. Right now, as we know, Abdi and DeLuca signed a extension on their deal leading Warner Brothers, so they are going to be there whether this deal goes through or not for the foreseeable future. On top of that, Zaslav is said to still, as we report it, be the CEO of Warner Brothers, so he will oversee things. And so far, he's done a pretty good job because he had banger after banger in the box office this summer, which I think a lot of people should give him credit for in that sense alone, just that sense. And now, what our fans really want to know is, one, how safe is James Gunn and Peter Safran moving forward? Because it has said that they have an extension signed through 2027, which is not that far from now. And on top of that, there's all these people that are still resuscitating the Snyderverse because Zack Snyder has a great relationship with Netflix. So I just want to pick your brain about what you think about all this. One, with James Gunn and our boy Safi Saf, and then two, Snyderverse. Is it coming back? I don't know. You tell me.
I don't think it's coming back. I don't see a way forward for. Let's just like talk about that. The Snyderverse coming back. Would Henry Cavill be up for it? Most likely. Who knows at this point? He might just be over it and wants to move on. He's supposed to be doing like was it Voltron or something like that, or Warhammer as well. He's like signed up for a bunch of other franchises.
Highlander, all of it, yeah.
All that stuff. So he's kind of like over that. He's just trying to move on to that. Ben Affleck does not want to do any superhero stuff. So I can't see him coming back to be Batman. And then Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot is not
the laugh at the end.
I just think it's just like she's just
all you need to tell the audience is Kal-El, no.
She had so much good favor with the audience after the first Wonder Woman. Like, and then it just went downhill, and people just started talking about how bad of an actor she is, and then some of her comments she's made in real life.
She's not nice in real life. Like,
so
camera operators or fan interact. Like, you just heard all. Yeah, that's such a good point. I love that you made that. My boy is wicked smart. I told you guys, because you guys are focused on, well, Snyder and Netflix have such a great relationship, so there's a big possibility they're going to side with him. But you're not focusing on do these actors want to come back? Can they come back? And do even audiences want some of them, no, back? You know what I mean? And I think the answer for one of them is no. We
And
don't
then
want you
Ezra
back.
Miller, like, there's no way. Like, there's too much going on. There's too much going on with this cast. Like, Jason Momoa and Henry Cavill are the two safe bets.
We
But
got
even, like,
Lobo.
yeah, he's
We
Lobo.
don't-
So is he
and he
gonna
gonna get his
stop
own
doing
movie.
that and switch him back to Aquaman? It's just too confusing. And
It's too confusing.
I think it will just diminish the DC brand in such a way that they reset again so soon after they just had a hit with Superman and Peacemaker. Even though season 2 wasn't as big of a hit, season 1 was. I think it would just be too much. So I don't think the Snyderverse has any chance of coming back.
People are hyped on that Supergirl teaser with the trailer dropping this week. It's just like, and then by the time that deal goes through, Superman 2 will be coming out or already out.
And Supergirl.
And Supergirl and Green Lantern, Lantern Corps and other
Clayface.
stuff.
Yeah.
Clayface, thank you. So it's just like, you're going to divide the audience. And that's the one thing with the IP that you don't want to do. You don't want to divide your audience and section them off and have them choose sides. You want everyone to come together because that's how you get more people to watch this stuff. And it would completely have the opposite effect if you brought Zack Snyder's Snyderverse back. And that is a step backwards for DC, not a step forwards. As much as, people love those movies for better or worse, and I enjoyed a lot of them. Right now, it's too far gone. It's too far gone to go back to that universe. And there's such a thing as audience confusion, and audience confusion can fracture your fan base and really hurt the franchise more than help it. Period.
I agree 100%.
Anyways, that's it, you guys. Those are a lot of it. I hope you got some clarification on some things. Keep in mind, with the antitrust, with the Trump of it all, this thing could fall apart. It could not go through, but typically when it gets an exclusive rights, we are closer to the end than the beginning of this bad boy. So let us know your thoughts. What do you think about Netflix being the winner of the bids, at least for Warner Brothers? And what do you think about these tidbits about what this really means and what this means for the big HBO brand and streaming service? Drop a comment below. Let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, we are almost out of here. We got 2 more things. I knew those stuff was going to be a lot. That's why I had only 5. But man, we had to talk about it because that was great. And I had to talk about Fan Expo because that was great. But I want to get into this. Our girl is officially out of Marvel and saying hello to the Batman. That is right. Our girl Scarlett Johansson is officially in talks for a undisclosed role in already spoiled it, the Batman 2. This is better before we spoil what we're about to say. This comes to us from Deadline. They say, after spending almost a decade defending the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Black Widow, a bat signal in the sky is calling Scarlett Johansson to DC Studios' latest chapter in the Batman series. While it's unknown where things stand in the deal-making process, sources tell Deadline that the Oscar-nominated actress is in final negotiations with the studio and director Matt Reeves for one of the new roles in the Batman Part 2. If a deal closes, she would join Robert Pattinson, who is set to reprise his role as the Caped Crusader in the upcoming sequel that Reeves is writing and directing. Johansson has been busy getting her affairs in order for 2026 shooting schedule, most recently coming in to star in a new Exorcist film from Blumhouse and director and horror icon. That's right, Mike Flanagan. Deadline was the first to break that news. At the time, Insider said her team at CAA was working out how she would be able to do both, and insiders now say that the schedule has been settled. When it comes to plot details and who Johansson might be playing, the film's secrets are harder to uncover than Bruce's Wayne's Batcave, they say. That was an interesting line. The Warner Brothers DC Studios pick is set for production in spring and will open in theaters October 1st, 2027. Unfortunately, with some good news of Oscar-nominated actress Johansson coming in, we got some bad news that Zoe Kravitz is unfortunately officially not going to appear in the Batman 2.
Yeah.
But it seems like if that is the case, that this is possibly hinting that Johansson could be a new love interest, a new love Idris Elba. No, a new love interest for Matt Reeves as the Batman. And so that is the news that broke earlier this week. And of course, there's been a ton of speculation about who, that was my Jeff Goldblum, of who Johansson could be. I want to ask you, one, did you know that originally this role was offered to Emma Stone before she turned it down and it went to Johansson?
No, I didn't hear about that part. Wow.
Stay blessed. And two, who do you think she could be playing? So one, what do you think that hints to? That originally they offered it to Emma Stone. That's the rumblings that we heard. And then two, who would you like her to play? Those are two separate things, right? Who do you think she could be playing? And that gives you a little hint. Who would you like her to play?
So it does feel like if they offered Emma Stone first and then she turned it down and go to Scarlett Johansson, they want someone that looks good as a redhead. Because they both iconically have redhead characters, especially like Emma Stone normally has red hair in her roles. And Scarlett Johansson played Black Widow with red hair. Who I wanted to be, the Mask of Phantasm is such a big film for millennials. And showing a picture like that just makes it make sense for her to play that character. It's just how would it tie into the movie in a way where it just doesn't.
For Matt Reeves's, I'm sorry, I just want to ask you, like it makes sense. Like this is iconic picture right here. Does it make sense for Matt Reeves' universe and what he had set up in the first movie?
No, like that's what I was saying. If it makes sense for her to play the character, if this was Muschietti's Batman, but for her to play in this more grounded story where it feels like this will be a repeat of the Catwoman storyline, him falling in love with someone that's already going down a darker path, him helping out and kind of dragging her more to the light path. And you know, the whole big thing, Catwoman was so angry and he was trying to make sure that she didn't become a killer.
Right.
And
I ain't a killer, but don't push me.
Good bars. But that's similar to like the Mask of Phantasm, what was happening with Bruce Wayne, and I'm forgetting what the character's real name is in that movie. So if they were to
Andrea, darn it, I had it in my head. Sorry. Andrea, my dad. No, I'll come up with what you're talking.
Yeah, I think it would just feel really similar. It's also a character that's, even though for us millennials we love her, she's not like super big in Batman lore. They don't really use her in the comics,
which I think could lend well. You know what I mean?
Which could lend well.
You could play with it a little bit more because she's not so iconic as a character. Besides for us millennials that grew up and saw that movie in theaters, you know?
Yeah. So they can kind of do whatever they want with the character. So
God, that picture.
It'll be interesting. I think, I don't know. I'm just surprised that Scarlett Johansson is going to DC.
It's interesting. It's interesting because, you know, it's such an iconic casting when it came to Black Widow and playing that
Yeah.
for so long.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not joining the DCU. It's joining Matt Reeves's movies, which is basically like, you know, if this was 10, 15 years ago, working with a Christopher Nolan on something separate, something
Yeah.
that feels grounded in its own thing, not
It's
a
not like a
part of a
10-year
cinematic
commitment.
universe. Yeah. So that's why I think it might be attractive to her. And then on top of that, I think the role is what attracted her because she hasn't played a lot of villainous roles. And I think there's a possibility if it is, let's say, a Talia al Ghul or a head of the Court of Owls, if you will, that playing more villainous role would excite her because she never got to play as that type of archetype in this kind of superhero sandbox. And I think that might be what attracted her to it, possibly.
And also can't think of a villainous role she's played in general.
Oh,
Um
well, in her skin. I mean, she killed a lot of money.
oh yeah, that's true.
Love that
Uh
movie. You've seen that, right?
yeah, you talking about when she was the alien?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but even that, I want to say she was like a villain per se.
Not a villain, but she was
She was
she killed a
not doing
lot of
things
money.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
she wasn't doing things that was particularly good.
This ain't right.
Um,
This ain't
but
right.
yeah, so we and they try to make us empathize with her in that movie, in Under the Skin. But this would be outright like a villain. They would shoot, the Basket of Phantasm, if she is playing that character, is a character that's empathetic. If she's playing Talia al Ghul, that's less empathetic and more bad. So that would be interesting for her to kind of like flex her acting chops. Can you make us hate Scarlett Johansson or dislike her in the proper way within the movie context?
Right. Or like eat it up, like, ooh, she's evil, and I can't
Yeah.
take my eyes off of it. Like, and
Yeah.
and don't get it twisted, you guys, because this is an Oscar nominated, double nominated in the same year actress. This is
Yeah.
a top tier actress in a big get. Like, is it Emma Stone, who won those years? No, it's not. But this is a really good actress who can transform. And this is a big get if she is fully in the role and casted. So I'm excited. This makes me excited. And then, people are saying, Vicky Vale, right?
Mhm.
And I could see it, but I think that's a waste of her talent. I don't think that is how you utilize a Scarlett Johansson. And then a lot of people always do this and they're like, red hair, poison ivy, has to be. Yeah, if it's red hair, it's poison ivy. And that does not fit in the Matt Reeves universe at all. So
Because if
I
you're
do
gonna go
not.
do that, it could be Barbara Gordon. If you want to go red hair, it has to be,
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I did hear that too.
Or it could
Yeah.
just be, it could be a gender bent character that we weren't thinking about. He has the freedom to do that because,
Helen Dent.
yeah, I didn't even think of that. She could be a Harvey Dent gender bent because
Not
we
mad
are
about
going
it.
to be getting a different Batman. So he'll have more freedom to do whatever he wants because he already changed Penguin, right? He changed Penguin. Is very different from the Penguin that we know and love. The
Yeah.
Joker adaptation that he's doing is very different. Riddler is very different from what we know and love. So he could go down a route where he takes a character that maybe he likes, but it's not super popular, like a toy man, make it a toy girl, or something like that from his Rose Gallery.
Yeah, what's her name? Saint Cloud is her name. You know what I'm talking about?
What's the villain name?
Yeah, man, I forgot her name. I know the last name is Saint Cloud, and they played a little bit with it in Gotham, like the TV series. Oh yeah, Silver Saint Cloud. So basically, she's like one of the most beloved, intelligent love interests of Batman that he's ever seen. She's smart, elegant Gotham socialite who becomes romantically involved with Bruce Wayne. But unlike most women in his life, Silver eventually deduces that Bruce is Batman. But instead of reacting with like fear, anger, She understands the emotional weight of Bruce's mission. So, their relationship still struggles, but because loving Batman means constantly living in fear. And so like Silver's like known for like her empathy, intuition, strong will, like making her someone that like isn't villainous, but truly understands the weight of care, like that Bruce carries with him to have to be Batman and go out there. And that is another interesting one that we haven't seen. Someone that it's always the one where it's like, oh, he's in love, but it's a trick and she's the villain. Ooh, I'm Jeff Goldblum again. You know what I mean? And so there's always that, but it's like, what about it's someone who loves him, who deduces that it is him and loves him regardless. And in the end, he still can't do it because he's afraid that it'll hurt her in the end. Like
Johansson could do that really, really well.
100%. So I'm really excited, guys. This is a great get. Scarlett Johansson in the Batman 2. If it's this far, it means like the ink hasn't dried, but we're getting pretty close. But let us know what you guys think. Are you excited about Scarlett Johansson? Do you think we could be seeing an adaptation of the Mask of the Phantasm, or are we just getting another Vicky Vale? Let us know your thoughts. Drop a comment below. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. But before we do, I wanted to get into this, and I'm just going to start by saying this is a call from the principal's office. Quentin Tarantino, please come to the principal's office for being a douchebag and bullying. That's right, my friends. Our boy Quentin Tarantino, who is a fantastic filmmaker, but not such a nice dude, is in the tabloids again. And it's not for his 10th movie. It is for him opening his mouth where it doesn't belong. This comes to us from eHollywood. They say Quentin Tarantino isn't mincing words. As Pulp Fiction director reflected on best films of the century thus far, he shared why he placed Paul Thomas Anderson's There Will Be Blood as his 5th favorite, explaining that Paul Dano's acting knocked it down a few pegs for him. It had an old Hollywood craftsmanship without trying to be like that, Tarantino explained of the 2007 Western. In an interview he did on December 2nd for the Bret Easton Ellis podcast. I don't know why I'm plugging that podcast. You should be plugging mine. As he noted to Anderson, it was the only film he's ever done, and I brought it up to him that doesn't have a set piece. The fire is the closest to a set piece. This was about dealing with the narrative, dealing with the story, and he did it fucking amazingly. And he's right about that one part. However, there was a part of the oil mining film that he just didn't dig. Get it? He said, There Will Be Blood would stand a good chance of being at number 1 or 2 if it didn't have a big giant flaw in it. And the flaw is Paul Dano. Obviously, it's supposed to be a two-hander, but it's also drastically obvious that it's not a two-hander. He is weak sauce, man. He is the weak sister, the 62-year-old continued. He's such a weak, uninteresting guy. The weakest effing actor in SAG. The Oscar winner even gave his own recommendation as to who should have been cast to contrast Lewis's antagonist. He said Austin Butler would have been wonderful in that role. He added, though, he noted Daniel Day-Lewis shows that he doesn't need a strong foil. The movie needs it. He doesn't need anything. Oh, my goodness. I'm not saying he is giving a terrible performance. I'm saying he's giving a non-entity performance. I don't care for him. Jesus. So, randomly, one of the more prestige directors in Hollywood wanted to single out Paul Dano and say how horrible of an actor he is. And after this came out, we saw a plethora of A-listers come to Paul Dano's defense, whether it's Ben Stiller, the writer of the Batman, or Matt Reeves,
Alec
or
Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin, or a lot of people from Sunshine. I'm thinking Eternal Sunshine. The one that he was so good in, Little Miss Sunshine.
Okay.
You know what I mean? A lot of people came to his defense, and he didn't just crap on them. He crapped on Matthew Lillard and also Owen Wilson as well. We'll talk about that in a second. I want to talk about Paul Dano because this is insane. Paul Dano is one of the best actors doing it right now. Whether it's Little Miss Sunshine, where people finally saw how good of acting chops he has, whether it's Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys, that movie he was fantastic in, whether it's Steven Spielberg's dad, whether it's the Riddler. And then on top of that, he is one of the reasons why Daniel Day-Lewis's role in iconic I Will Drink Your Milkshake worked. Is because he had this young actor, this so unassuming actor that not a lot of people knew about, completely own the role and stand toe to toe with the greatest actor of all time. So you're going to sit here on your high horse as a director and completely crap on someone that is completely untrue. Like, not just him as actor, but in that role specifically, he is also what made that movie great.
Yeah.
When he's saying, I abandoned my boy. The scene, in that scene right before that, when he's like, confess, confess. It was mind-blowing, the performance that Paul Dano gave. And the fact that all these people in Hollywood are coming to his defense just reasserts how asinine these statements are from Tarantino. And it's very, very disappointing to hear. Zach, my friend, I know you got a lot to say. What do you think about this? And then also, what do you think about the people that came to his defense?
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino has been known to be an asshole for a long time, but because he's put out classic films, people have like, oh, he's just a funny, quirky guy. It's just Tarantino being a boy. Boys will be boys. That kind of behavior has been granted for him. While others, when they say anything, even lesser to what he says, get put into the cancel jail real quick. I have for a long time have felt like he just comes off weird for me as a weird person, as a weird creative. Just the way he talks about movies, like he has a superior opinion about them and they are fact, and how you hear how he talks to the people he directs, and even the way with Uma Thurman and almost killing her in Kill Bill, and or was it Pulp Fiction?
For years.
I think it was Kill Bill, the car scene.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. They didn't talk for years after that.
Yeah, the Roman Polanski thing is just he has a whole plethora of weird shit that he said throughout his life. He says it, he drops out, leaves, then drops a movie, and people forget about it. I think the reason why this is bigger because he hasn't dropped a project in a long time. It's taken him a really long time to do this 10th movie. He keeps canceling it, restarting it, changing the name. He's starting to get exposed a little bit as someone that lifts things off the other projects since the pandemic, where everyone have access to every movie almost in existence and can see the things that he's lifted off other movies. So he's not the full creative a lot of people think he is. And I think he's starting to see that his name is not as relevant in the director talk as it used to be. So he has to come out and lash out on someone. And he thought Paul Dano would be an easy target.
Right, is overshadowing him now, and
right,
he's getting like, like my spotlight is going away, and he's a narcissist, right? He's a
narcissist, and there's a lot of people making Tarantino-esque films as well. You know, you hear that word thrown around, and people are not hating them for it. You know, the Safdie brothers, the Coens, They've
Just gonna
adapted
say that.
some of that style that he's had. And you start hearing about Nolan, Denis, Ari Aster, Jordan Peele, David Fincher. You hear all these people way
Guillermo.
before you get to Tarantino these days. So
Yeah,
I think
Guillermo.
he's like, I'm
I
gonna
love
pick
him.
on the most harmless actor I could possibly pick on,
What the heck?
which is Paul Dano. And I don't think he thought that all these people would come, because he picked on Matthew Lillard and he also picked on Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, everyone came out to defend Paul Dano. And I think it was because he specifically attacked him in a performance that everyone's like, what are you talking about?
That was great.
It was great.
It's what made him. It's what made him a star. Like, what are you talking about? And on top of that, have you not seen Prisoners? Like, he is so good in that
gosh.
without barely saying a line. And it's
So
like,
good.
I think why people came to the defense more, and we'll talk about Matthew Lillard and Owen Wilson in one sec, because I do like those actors. They are very good for what they bring to the screen, and it's bull crap to pick on. As a director, this is the point, I think, of everything, actually. As a director with a big name, why do you feel the need to crap on other actors? Like, where do you get off thinking that that's appropriate, thinking that people will have your back on this, that you are right in every sense of the word you're saying? Like, where do you get off thinking that it's okay to talk crap like that publicly?
And he's not a good actor either. That's what makes it worse. Tarantino himself is not a good actor. So what are you? You're the weakest actor in SAG, if anything. So what are you talking about right now?
Yeah, you are. And also, Kal-El, no.
I think you tied it, and this might be a little bit of controversial opinion. I think you tied it a little bit. There might be a little political aspect to this, right? I think it's known that Tarantino lives in Israel. He's married to a Zionist, and there's that aspect there. And Paul Dano has come out to be pro-Palestine, so it might be that's why he picked him specifically as well. He seems harmless. He probably didn't think he was so beloved as much as he did, because we love Paul Dano, but he's not in a ton of big movies in terms of mainstream success.
No, he's selective, and
he's selective.
Yeah.
So I think he was just like, I'm gonna do this, and everybody's gonna forget about it, because nobody's really talking about the Matthew Lillard or Owen Wilson thing. So I think he thought he was gonna get bundled up in that, and everybody's gonna think it's funny. And it's just not working out. So I think there's many factors of why he did this, but I think people are gonna still watch his 10th movie, but I think it's establishing him as a person is just a terrible person.
It's a terrible thing. It's pathetic. It's low. It's all the things. And I'll just briefly say, because we're going to get out of here soon. I'll just briefly say, Owen Wilson and Matthew Lillard are great character actors. They've been in a ton of stuff where I'm like, they're great for that role. Like, I think Mobius, in Loki, I think Owen Wilson does some of his best acting in that. His new show on Apple TV, I love. The golfing one, I really love. Matthew Lillard has been around for a very long time, and I get happy when I see him, and I'm ecstatic that he's going to be in Daredevil Born Again season 2. So, like, it's just pathetic to pick on these actors who have been in the game for a long time, who are busting their butts to make a name for themselves, and still you have to single them out randomly. It's just pathetic. Now, if he's doing a movie with them, this was a tactic. This was a tactic. Then this is a brilliant marketing tactic, and I would love to see next movie starring Paul Dano, Owen Wilson, Matthew Lillard. That would be brilliant. But for some reason, I think this is just Tarantino being Tarantino, and it's really pathetic, and it's really sad, and it's beneath you, dude. And I can separate it because I love a lot, like most Tarantino movies. I don't think he misses, to be honest. I love those movies, but the human being, you got a lot of work to do, and knowing you're probably not going to do it. So get
No.
your 10th film out and get the heck out of here, bro, because we don't
Yeah.
need people like that. Like, build
How old
people
is
up.
this
Don't
man?
tear them down for no reason.
He is, how old is he? He's 62.
61?
He's not
62. He's a
he's
piece of
not
poop.
changing.
He's a
You
piece
know what I
of poop.
mean? Like at
He ain't
that
changing.
point, when you get to a certain point, you're stuck in your ways. You feel like you're set in life in terms of your views. He's not changing. He's just gonna be,
No.
and he's not gonna stop, right? Like he's not gonna stop. No one, he's not losing money off any of this. He's just gonna continue to say whatever he wants, and
Because he can.
because yeah,
Yeah. I wouldn't want to work with him though after that. Or like,
no,
that'd be crazy. You know what I mean? Like, Leo's like, sign me up for the 10th one. I'm like, bro, you don't give a crap. You're talking about the Amazon being cut down. Then you're like with what's his name from Amazon, the owner of Amazon, like at his wedding, like, hey, cut him down. You know, it's like,
yeah,
what? How many
yeah,
planes do you take? Dude, Gervais said it the best. You guys are all hypocrites. You don't know about real shit. You know what I mean?
no,
So that was unfortunate, but the love that Paul Dano has received after is fantastic. So go see a Paul Dano movie, man. He's great. And enough said. So let us know what you guys think. Is Tarantino POS? Probably yes. Do you like Paul Dano? Is there something to be left, to be desired? Drop a comment below. Let us know your thoughts. And that will do it for the show. That was a longer show than expected, but I knew we had a ton of stuff to get into, and I'm glad we got into it. Before we get out of here, I did want to mention one thing. So I know my boy Zach at Zach Attack Reviews is not putting out a review until the new year. And I have to say, we need you, man, because your reviews are fantastic. Your takes are amazing. You have great insight. You see movies so well and are able to regurgitate it to the general audience to get them excited or inform them about something they should see or something that is coming out. And that is something that we need. So I just want to say, I, for one, cannot wait for the beginning of next year to hopefully see more from Zach Attack Reviews.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I've been on this holiday hiatus. I needed to take a little bit of a break, but I'm starting to plan things now in terms of like channel name change, maybe new logos and colors. And I know right now my next couple videos are going to be lists, like worst movies of 2025, best movies of 2025, and then my award show that I do every year, which Evan will be a part of, where I'm going to be, doing like my own Oscars. So I'm really excited to get back into the swing of things after taking this break. I appreciate that, man.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you again for joining us. Drop a comment below, like, subscribe, be here. This is not easy, is what I found out from doing this over a year, and you could get discouraged, but I'm telling you, man, the comments that I see that are overwhelmingly positive, mostly, really make this worth doing. And I love talking to you guys, and then, being out there in the wild, interviewing people, talking to people about the stuff that we love and geek out about. It means so much to me. So as long as it's fun and as long as you guys are going to be here, I'm going to keep going. And so be along for the journey. Like, subscribe, comment, and be a part of the community. And go see a movie in theaters because it might be the last time. Yeah.
That makes me so sad.
I know. All right, my friends. Till next time, we will see you next week. Have a great week and take care. Bye-bye. I said bye-bye.
It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. The Evan edition. It's the Evan edition.